Welcome to this session, everybody, and we are looking at how to close a workshop session. Oh, yes. Are you surprised? There is a process to go through to close a workshop session. You don't just say, the end, bye-bye, see you guys, take care of yourself, get home very safe, bye-bye. You have not ended well. That is why if they give you 40 minutes, do your best to use 35 minutes and use 5 minutes to close. You don't need your host to tell you you are a professional. Know that. If your host tells you you have 1 hour, use your wisdom and know that in this 1 hour, 5 minutes is intro, 5 minutes is closing. So you have 50 minutes to deliver wisdom and knowledge. You must be aware of this and make good use of it. Of course, that's why you're taking the program. So even if it is your event, even if it is your program, if you say the program, your session takes 2 hours, you need to be conscious that you have introduction and you have your closing. And many times, closing takes longer than introduction, depending on the kind of session you're leading and what you want to achieve. Hear me very well. Closing should mostly take more than introduction because closing is very important and can be very technical. Okay? So let's look at the steps that you can go through or the things you can do to close your session. Number 1, next steps. And in this closing, there's no chronological order. It depends on what is happening. It depends on your session. It depends on your focus. It depends if it's a recording workshop, whatever, it depends. So you can use any of these. You can use all of them or any of these, depending on where you are. But it's your job to know these techniques, how to use them. So the first technique is you can announce the next steps. Are the participants clear about the next steps in the agenda? Is it clear who is responsible for moving things forward? Roles should be clarified. Yes, as you are ending the session, what are the next steps? Like we have seen this a lot of times in many of the sessions we have had in this program. When I'm ending the session, I emphasize, okay, next steps, I want you to design the curriculum structure for your course. I want you to do this and do that. That's next steps. Next steps contribute to transformation. Many times in certain sessions, you can always write down your next steps so that you don't forget. There's nothing wrong with reading your next steps. So, all right, everybody, settle down. I expect that in 2 months when we are meeting back here, in tomorrow we are coming back here, these are the next steps I expect all of us to follow and make sure we live by them and bring them tomorrow or next week. Do this. This man, you are responsible for this. And if you have any further question, email this person who is responsible for this role. You get the concept? So you must have next steps. Don't design a workshop without having next steps, even if it is a one-time workshop. What are the next steps that people can take to make good use of the knowledge they have picked from you? So you must have the next steps. Number 2, celebrate successes. People like to feel rewarded for their efforts. Yes, you can find a way to celebrate successes during your workshop program. Yes, find a way to celebrate successes. You can do this in a very innovative way. It's your job to create the various ways to celebrate success. Number 1, you can decide that, oh, you are going to call out the most active and most engaging participants and let the whole crowd clap for the person and give the person a standing ovation. That is a success. You celebrate that. Maybe you have successfully just ended the workshop, fulfill all objectives. The participants are smiling from jaw to jaw. You can do a clapping ovation. You can play music and say, okay, let's dance for 2 minutes and celebrate the end of the workshop. Do something and celebrate. It could be celebrating 1, 2 people and buying lunch for your participants, or create something, celebrate. Okay, find a way to celebrate. You can celebrate by giving gifts. Maybe when you're something, I like to always bring like some of my books. I could give e-books or hard copy books. I'll come and say, okay, at the end, I'll give copies to people that ask most questions, who are engaging, who are active, who are supportive, to celebrate their successes. It sends a strong message about you. And it makes the participants to remember you. Number 3, acknowledgements. Never forget acknowledgements. Learn to acknowledge people, especially if you are a guest. Learn to honor and acknowledge people. Thank the organizer. Celebrate them for their hard work. It's not easy to put the workshop together. Acknowledgement. I don't know if I was acknowledging this picture is a session in Rwanda, in Kigali. I was leading a workshop in Kigali. You see, workshop has their own kind of setting. You see, you move the pulpit behind, you move stuff, there are boards everywhere. You see, this is a typical workshop setting. Papers everywhere, right? You need to acknowledge. Maybe if I was saying, oh, I want to acknowledge the organizers. Thank you for paying for my hotel. Thank you for paying for my flight. Thank you for making sure I have good food. Thank you for taking me around the town. Thank you for putting this workshop together. I just say nice things and acknowledge them is powerful. Remember to acknowledge and appreciate those who played important roles in the meeting, such as the planners, the host, those providing logistical support, whoever that you think. Sometimes in some meetings, I always write it down and I make sure I craft their names. When I'm speaking, you feel as if I've known you from Adam. Don't worry, it's a technique. It's a job work. I'm doing my work. Sometimes I'll take people's name the previous day or in the morning. Take. Then I'll try to know this name, put the face, know this name, put the face, know this name, put the face. It's called diplomacy. Right? It's diplomacy. When I come and towards the end of my session, I say, oh, maybe I've ended all of that. So I would like to especially acknowledge, I call Mr. This, Mr. That, Mrs. This, Madam This, all of that, I'll call all their names and all of that. And suddenly they'll be blushing, they'll be smiling, they'll be feeling good and all of that. They don't know that I went behind the scenes and crammed their names in 2 minutes and overnight just to do strategy. But it's part of the business. You be good in their good books. It's your job to do that as a facilitator, as a trainer. Acknowledgement, celebrate stuff. This is not when you are raising complaints. I don't raise complaints in public. No matter how terrible the logistics was, I don't do that. I always want to talk about it in private. I don't. I just celebrate whatever happened. Even if there are worse things, I don't mention problems. Let's focus on the moment. If I want to correct something, it happens with the host or with the organizing team. And I'll encourage you to avoid that. Avoid standing in front and complaining, oh, unfortunately. Did you marry unfortunately? Is your husband's name unfortunate? Right? So acknowledge is a very important component towards the end of your session, especially if you are a guest. Even if you are a host, you had a team of volunteers that helped you. Maybe you have a team of employees that work with you, celebrate them, acknowledge them. Okay, you can acknowledge them behind in public, but it's important, acknowledge them, okay? Closure. Closure is very important. How you close your workshop is very important. One example of a highly effective closing is to ask participants to share one positive thing they are taking away from the meeting. Many times I like to do this. I just go, okay, everybody cannot talk, but in the next 2 minutes, I need 4 people who can speak in 30 seconds each, and I'll be timing. Tell us, share one positive thing you are taking away from the workshop, from the meeting. And if there's sometimes time, I ask them, how will you practice this in your life, career, and business? Closure. So always close with activity, especially in a workshop. Especially in a workshop. Conferences don't require closure. Certain speaking places, you don't require closure. Certain seminars and workshops, and training, you don't require closure. But a workshop, there must be closure as a trainer. Okay? So these are the things that you can go through in a fundamental way to end your session in a very powerful way. You can also think of creative ways to do it if you want to do it. Sometimes you can end with a survey. You can end with a general feedback. Sometimes you can end, maybe there's a way you started with a game, you can end with a game, you can end with a dance. Well, all of these things fall under these elements I have shared. But make sure that you have a game plan, how you will end your workshop or your session in a way that people don't miss you. They feel that your session was powerful and transformational. And as I said, you can combine all of these in your ending, or you can combine just one. There are some sessions that you have limited time. You can end just with closure. Yes, you can end just with this. So hello, everybody. Before I go, I want to quickly get two people who will share with me what they picked from this session. When they are done, you can quickly do acknowledgements in a few seconds. I want to thank Days for putting this together. Thank you so much. I celebrate you for the great work, hard work. God bless you, and see you another time. Again, these kind of stuff happen when you did not manage your time well. But if you did and you have enough time, make sure you properly employ all of these techniques to actually close the work that you do. Questions? This mail with my closure face.